Yeah! Many of us bottom feeders here on the internet have noticed the intense similarities between the story of Beauty and the Beast and that of Stockholm Syndrome. For those of you who are unaware somehow of the story of Beauty and the Beast, a girl gets kidnapped by a rage monster. Through a series of musical numbers, the girl falls in love with the rage monster and, her abusive captor and all that fun stuff. At a glance, this does seem to be what's happening in the movie. But the thing is, we actually see a change more in the Beast than we do in Belle. I mean, when she asks him to, eat with a fork and knife instead of with his hands, and I mean, let's be honest here, he's just doing what every guy would do. He's being pragmatic, look at those teeth on the Beast. You know that food was not delivered to the castle. That was like a deer or something that the Beast went out and he tore down with his own, And yet, for her benefit, he decides to try to eat like a civilized individual. Whenever the Beast becomes irrational or angry, she simply runs away or tells him off, and over time, the Beast reforms his actions. He sympathizes with her. Again, she doesn't come around to his way of thinking so much as he comes around to her way of thinking. The reverse of Stockholm Syndrome is what we sometimes refer to as Lima Syndrome, after an incident in Lima, Peru, in which a group of militants let go of a bunch of hostages that they had, including some of their highest caliber hostages, their biggest chips that they had to play, because they sympathized with the people that they had captured. Claiming Stockholm Syndrome in this movie seems to be, to me, a little bit of a fatalistic view, as it makes the Beast out to be the villain and Gaston out to be the good guy. Now, don't get me wrong, I got no problem with this. I believe that Gaston is a good guy, that he is a hero in the story. I mean, if you take a look at him and compare him against other Disney hero archetypes, you come to see that there are a lot of striking similarities, whether it's strength or stubbornness or just, everybody loving them. These are things that most of the heroes have in common with one another. When you take a look at Gaston and Belle's relationship, he is relentlessly pursuing her despite other women actually throwing themselves at him. The only way he can see that he can win her over is by going to the castle, beating this monster, and winning her hand. This would be the story of Super Mario Bros. If nobody in the Mushroom Kingdom really liked Peach. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean that the Beast is the bad guy in the story. This is a story of good versus good, where the Beast goes from being a selfish, narcissistic beast into being something of a nice guy because of the Lima Syndrome. He sympathizes with Belle and takes on her characteristics of being a caring person who thinks about and cares for others to the point of even letting her leave. In an ideal world, both of these sides would be able to reconcile to one another. So why doesn't Gaston try to talk through things with the Beast? Well, first off, he looks in the mirror and is like, "Rah, angry Beast." That's my best impression, I'm sorry. Secondly, he's got the mob mentality now going on all around him, right? Yeah, he rallied the mob, but at the same time, it's really hard to combat that and really go against it once that whole train has started rolling. And so, it's not so much a fault of Gaston as it is a fault of humanity as a whole. It could be reasonably argued that the reason that Gaston tried to kill the Beast even after Belle told him not to is they're in the middle of a giant thunderstorm. There's a high possibility he never even heard her. Even after the Beast spared him, and Belle was all like, "Oh, Beast, I love you," Gaston still goes up and tries to, he stabs him in the back, right? Which doesn't seem like a very heroic thing to do until you realize, again, this is something we see a lot in Disney movies. The love interest generally distracting the villain so that the hero can do something, whether it's actually deliver the killing blow in the case of Gaston, or whether it's, Jasmine distracting Jafar. It's a common theme that we see. And so Gaston was really just taking the initiative the way that Aladdin would have. Aladdin wouldn't have been like, "Oh, look at that, she's actually in love with Jafar. That's a shame. I guess I won't try to stop him now. I'm going to walk away." Because in his mind, as in Gaston's mind, the villain has already been made very clear. Now, as my wife pointed out as I was talking this over with her, she did say, Paul, Gaston did try to throw Belle's father into an insane asylum. But again, in fairness to Gaston, Belle's father is insane. So, there's that. But that's what Beauty and the Beast teaches us, that people are not static, they are malleable, that our initial assessment of an individual or of a group could be wrong, that people can change over time, that we can look past the circumstances and the conditions that led people to the place that they're in, and that they can rise above that and be better than that. That not every story has a villain. Not every story needs a villain. Did I just say that? Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, give us a like to let us know that you want to see more of this in the future, and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss anything coming out of Spoiler City. Comment down below who you think might have got short-changed in the whole, this guy's a bad guy sort of thing. And we'll see you next time.